Dakota Johnson explains Daddio's heartbreaking story, her desire to make honest movies. Dakota Johnson has not always been given the most glowing reviews for some of her movies, with her big break in 50 Shades of Grey and its sequels being slammed on its debut, and Madame Web proving that, even all these years later, the actress is still on the receiving end of some harsh criticism. Her latest role in Daddio is one that allows little room to hide, as the movie plays out mostly as a two-hander between Johnson's character, Girlie, and Sean Penn's taxi driver, Clark. This time around, it seems that Johnson is hitting the mark by returning to a more stripped-back performance. Speaking with Screen Rant about Daddio, Johnson explained how the movie also has a third person present, in form of an unnamed man on the end of Girlie's phone, who acts as the film's villain despite never being seen or described during the duration of the movie. Explaining the unique way the dynamics of the story play out, in a disturbing, heartbreaking, and special way. She said, "Well, he was really the villain. He's the bad guy in the story. And it was so interesting to me, like reading the script to begin with. It's such an amazing way to have a dark energy present when you don't know what he looks like, what his name is, anything about him really. And it makes you feel deeply disturbed, and I just found it so powerful. I guess I just understood how twisted that dynamic can be, and how complicated. At the end of the day, Girlie just wants to be loved, and I found it so heartbreaking and special." Dakota Johnson's Daddio character exudes mischief. The dynamic between Johnson and Penn's characters is one that reveals a lot about Girlie throughout the movie's runtime, and that is something that Johnson has a very specific view of. While some of the conversations between the characters are not the type of discussions strangers would usually be comfortable talking about, Johnson's Girlie is not remotely bothered by some of the inappropriate comments made by her driver. Johnson explained, "I love that she has this underlying mischief the whole time. She's in a cab with a man. He's a stranger. He's saying fairly inappropriate things occasionally. And she's like, okay, great. Let's go. She's not threatened by it. She's not going to jump out of the car and be traumatized by it. She's curious and mischievious and can really support herself in this dynamic." Dakota Johnson is discovering what is important in her career. Moving on to share a view on her career as a whole, Johnson was asked what it is she wants to give audiences in a performance, and it seems this is something that is always evolving. She said, "It's kind of different every time I work, but it is becoming more and more clear to me as I continue to work in this industry and broaden my career, that telling story about human connections and honest people, women, men, being true even though it may not be popular or acceptable is becoming more and more important to me." Daddio debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2023 to strong reviews and releases today, June 28, in cinemas. You can check out our review of Here. You can also check out the trailer below.